Hey guys, I'm Excited. If you're new here, I mainly post raid builds and 7-star raid guides. But today, it's going to be a little different. We're going to be speculating and discussing what we may expect for the next 7-star raids. So keep in mind, the purpose of this video is speculation. In 2 to 3 months, I could be precisely on the dot, or I could have missed the boat entirely. But I still find it fun speculating, and think we can have a fun, healthy discussion in the comment section. Before we start the discussion, I want to say that I love the 7-star raids introducing non-native Pokemon to Scarlet and Violet. I think it's a fun and challenging way to catch some of these starters in Scarlet and Violet, so you don't have to transfer them via Bank, Home, or Pokemon Go. RIP Pokemon Bank, by the way. And they have the Unrivaled mark, which is a fun plus. So a great starting point for this discussion is what 7-star raids we've already had, because we can use that knowledge to more accurately predict what's in store for us in the future. So for the most part, we got the Kalos starter trio from X and Y, the Galar starter trio from Sword and Shield, and we also got the Hisuian starter trio original forms, normal decidueye, normal typhlosion, and samurott. Other than these trios, our first ever 7-star raid was Charizard, because of course it was, but no Venusaur or Blastoise love. Yet, at least. And at some point, there was that 7-star Pikachu, but I'm gonna chalk that up as it's literally the Pokemon mascot, so no need to think about that too much. Early in Scarlet and Violet's life cycle, all of these starter 7-star raids were in the code and were leaked before being officially revealed. So we knew that we were getting all of these raids at some point. Well, now that we've had all these 7-star raids that were included in the original link, where do we go next? Before speculation territory, there's still 2 additional 7-star raids that I haven't touched on yet. We got our first legendary 7-star raid, Mewtwo. And man, was that a pain in the ass. I'd argue it's the only raid worthy of being rated 7 stars. Mewtwo was added because Mewtwo was being added to a bunch of different Pokemon titles at the time. It was being released in the 2nd anniversary of Pokemon Unite. I believe there was some sort of event in Pokemon Go, and we got it as a 7-star event Tera raid. The Pokemon Company seems to like to do that for Mewtwo. If you played Sword and Shield when it was new, you already know that we had Mewtwo raids in Sword and Shield as well for Pokemon Day. So one could argue that maybe we'll see more legendary 7-star raids in the future. But Mewtwo is also somewhat of an anomaly when discussing legendaries. It's like Charizard. Mewtwo always gets the special treatment. The most recent 7-star raid we survived was Hisuian decidueye. Now this one was a good surprise because there were no leaks regarding the Hisuian starters in 7-star raids, and this was your way to get your hands on the Hisuian starters without buying Legends Arceus. But honestly, you should buy Legends Arceus anyways. It's a really great game. Not sponsored, by the way, but hey, Pokemon, hit my line. I'd love to work together. So it's safe to assume the next 7-star raids we'll be expecting is Fire Tera Hisuian Typhlosion and Water Tera Hisuian Samurott to round out that starter trio. The reason for the Teras is because we got Grass Tera Hisuian decidueye, who is the grass starter, obviously. So I think we could safely assume we'll get the Fire Tera for the fire starter and likewise for the water starter. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See ya. Nah, not like that, not like that. We're not ending the video there. That would be no fun. I want to speculate even further. What's next after the Hisuian starters? I have a few ideas. Let's start off with the more conventional guesses, and then we could go more outside of the box. So all of the 7-star raids we've experienced have been non-native starter Pokemon, other than the Mewtwo raid, which can be explained via other means. And we've completed all of the starter trios except for one, the first ever 7-star raid, Charizard. Usually Charizard gets the special treatment because it's Charizard, but its peers, Venusaur and Blastoise, are usually lumped in with Charizard, albeit at a later date. But you can't have Charizard without the others getting special treatment as well. When Charizard was revealed to have Mega Evolution X and Y, Venusaur and Blastoise also got Megas. When Charmander was gifted to you by Leon after beating Sword and Shield, we got Bulbasaur and Squirtle in the DLC as a starter to choose from. So I think we can expect Venusaur and Blastoise raids after the Hisuian starters. But what types would they be? Pokemon has never doubled down on any of the Tera types yet. So maybe we can eliminate all the Tera types we've already fought against? And this is a quick side tangent, but I love how they pick the Tera types for the 7-star raids. Charizard was Dragon Tera because everyone thinks it should be Dragon type rather than flying. Decidueye was flying Tera type because Rowlet is a grass flying type who lost the flying typing for ghost typing. And Cinderace was fighting Tera because everyone thought Cinderace would be yet another firefighting starter. You get the point. That leaves only 5 types left: Dark, Electric, Ground, Psychic, and Steel. I could definitely see a 7-star Steel Tera Blastoise. It has cannons made of steel, it can learn Flash Cannon, which you would think it would shoot from its cannons. It makes sense. Or I'm just crazy? Venusaur, though, isn't as straightforward for me. I could see Ground Tera because it's a land toad, but other than that, I don't have a good reasoning other than the other types just don't make any sense. So we have 3 Tera types left. Perfect, because I think we have some evidence about one more starter trio that we can expect to be 7-star Tera raids. The Sinnoh starters. If you play the tealmask DLC, you may know that Jacques gives you an egg of one of the random starters from Sinnoh, but you only get one of them. How do we get the other 2 without trading or transferring them? Well, we could get them all from 7-star raids. I think it'd be very strange if the Pokemon Company had it where we could only get our hands on one of the starters and no ways to get the other 2. So we could expect Tera, Infernape, and Empoleon. The only 3 Tera types that are left are Electric, Psychic, and Dark. And I'll be real, I don't see a reasoning for any of these starters to be any of these types. Maybe like Electric Tera Torterra, Dark Tera Infernape, and Psychic Tera Empoleon? I think it'd make more sense if the Sinnoh starter Tera types were the secondary typings. So Ground Tera Torterra, Steel Tera Empoleon, and Fighting Tera Infernape. But we've already had Fighting type Tera for Cinderace, so that theory doesn't have much legs either. But maybe, instead of Fighting Tera, it could be Electric Tera with Iron Fist boosted Thunder Punch. It wouldn't follow the trio's pattern, but may I remind you about Bug Tera Samurott, which should have been Dark Tera type? Pokemon Company can make exceptions to their own rules that they make. So if we have Ground Tera Torterra, Steel Tera Empoleon, and Electric Tera Infernape, the only 2 types left are Psychic and Dark. Dark Tera Blastoise could work with Dark Pulse, and Psychic Tera Venusaur kind of gets the short end of the stick. It gets Psychic type because nothing else was Psychic. And no, I'm not counting Psychic Tera Mewtwo because it got an event for different reasons that we've already touched on. It's my video, I get to make the rules. I think this theory is somewhat decent. Let's just be clear, the specific Tera types I'm not too confident in, but I can definitely see the remaining 7-star raids be the rest of the Hisuian starters, then the Sinnoh starters, and then the rest of the Kanto starters. We have 7 leftover Tera types and 7 leftover starters with this theory. The piece fits in the puzzle. In the Indigo Disc DLC, we'll have access to all of the starters in the wild. So I'd prefer if they took the 7-star raids down a different path. Let's make things a little interesting. Mythical Pokemon. Pokemon that are so rare, they're uncatchable unless you do some sort of promotion like go to GameStop. And come on, no one's trying to go to GameStop in 2023. But Pokemon Company has been more open to allowing players acquire mythical Pokemon in their game cartridges in recent years. We got Mew via Pokeball Plus and BDSP, Celebi via Crystal Virtual Console, Deoxys via Oras's postgame, Jirachi via BDSP. We got access to all the Sinnoh Mythicals, Arceus, Manaphy, and Shaman in BDSP and or Legends Arceus, Keldeo and Sword and Shield's DLC, Zeraora via Sword and Shield's online raids. Wait, online raids, you say? Interesting. Originally, these Pokemon were locked behind events, but nowadays, players have more options to acquire these extremely rare Pokemon. So does that mean Gen 5 Mythicals are next? Personally, I don't think so. It's safe to assume Black and White remakes or some sort of Legends Kyurem game are going to be the next Pokemon games, so I'd like to think those Mythicals would be possible to catch in those games. So let's look at the Gen 6 Mythicals. And come on, people love to talk about the connection between Paldea and Kalos. Like, for real, everyone. I think we're going to Kalos for the DLC. Jokes and memes aside, I'd love to have 7-star mythical raids. Imagine a 7-star Fire Tera Volcanion, a 7-star Dark Tera Hoopa, or a 7-star Ferroterra Diancie. I mean, they're already transferable via Pokemon Home. To bring the video full circle, 7-star mythical raids would be a fun challenge and allow us to get our hands on Pokemon that were never easily accessible. Also, don't make me beg, Game Freak. I need these mythicals for my Pokemon Home living decks. Please. They're Pokemon with legendary level stats, so they could rival the difficulty of Mewtwo, and Mewtwo is my favorite event raid thus far. So I'll recognize and admit I may be a tad biased. but personally, I'd prefer if we got 7-star mythical raids rather than more starters, because we'll be able to catch all the stars in the Indigo Disc DLC anyways. So what do you think? What do you think will be the next for future 7-star raids? Or what do you hope they will be? Let me know down in the comments. If you can like the video and subscribe to the channel to help me out in my battle against the 7-star YouTube algorithm, I greatly appreciate the helping hand buff. Well, see ya!